to another beautiful edition of the Weekend Show coming to you right from the city of Oka. Welcome. I am David Okwasele.
And I still remain Oluchi Carlo. It's a beautiful Saturday, and as usual, we're here to serve you breakfast. This is the main dish. I hope you're ready. Today, we're dishing out something very trendy, something that I would say is positive. David, is positive.
Yeah, it's very, very positive. You know, the week that just passed from Friday to Monday and then yesterday has been hot on social media. If you don't have data and you just come into social media, you discover that a lot has happened within the few minutes you left. So it's been busy, and we want to find out how those are affecting our lives.
Yeah, so today we'll be talking about social media and change in Nigeria. This week we recorded a lot of victory. Like we had a victorious record in the Bisola and the Kosa pastor, talking about Pastor Abiodun. Yes, at the end of the day, Pastor Abiodun had to step down. And then we had the Senator Elijah case where there was this viral tape where he actually molested the sales girl. And Senator came out, apologized, and his case is being investigated by the police. And then we had a victory where the Madonna 7 were actually bailed out of prison. And then more and more victory. We had the Ruga suspended and more victories. So we're here to talk about it. We have two handsome gentlemen who are actually very sharp on social media. They talk very well on social media, so they are very, very active in our social media community. David, that gentleman, do me the honor.
Good morning and welcome again. We have Engineer Kenneth Kwongunzo. He's here with us, a social media influencer, a politician, and also an engineer, right? So he's with us today to look at what has happened, maybe how we're going to use this to bring positive change in our society. We also have Mr. Charles Ifani Obi. He's a regular here, and he will also be commenting. He's also a social media influencer here with us. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
So together we'll be looking at this very important topic, social media and change in Nigeria. All right, let's kick off by looking at the history. Social media was used, let me say, became a very important tool in politics in 2011, where people started mobilizing youths from social media. How would you analyze the journey so far? Do you think we've moved ahead, or are we still within the same, we are just marking time in the same place? Let me start with you, Kenneth.
Thank you. Let me put it this way. Since 2011, since the invention of social media, I think the politics, governance, and everything has become another thing altogether. Because both in the politicking, our leaders doesn't come in and tell us, we'll do this road for you, we'll do this for you, we'll do this for you. Each time you are saying it, we are taking note of all these things. At the end of the day, if you don't do it, we'll come out and say, you don't do it. So you see that there is a positive change in our election. Now let's go to the government. The government these days, as you can see, almost this week is full of intriguers.
Yes,
how do I put it? You can see how social media have come to say no and to yes to some certain things. And you can see from all perspectives that the social media have come to stay and has given a voice to the youth.
Okay, you know, before then, a lot of people see social media from the negative aspects. Like there was a time my dad used to say the youths were actually possessed by the spirit of social media because every time you see us, we're always with our phone present. But now, even the elderly ones do that too. The last time you were here, I think was during the election when you came on Weekend Show, and we also spoke about people using social media for propaganda and all that. Yeah. That was the negative aspect.
Yes, exactly. Cyberbullying.
Yeah, cyberbullying, yeah. So now, my question is, how come all this changed? Because this past week, talking about last week and this week, I'm not sure we heard anything negative about social media. It was more of like a positive impact. How did it all happen?
When we discussed this last time about social media bullying, I talked about the advancements, the progress we recorded. And I said the merits are on the high side than the demerits. So if you find out as Nigeria is developing and our democracy is growing, you understand? And I said also that you would not look away from the impact of social media in the revolution that is occurring in Nigeria. Social media is vital, is a vital tool in every developing nation currently, because we are in a social media age. So people also tend to advance. We build, in fact, it helps. In fact, social media, I used to talk, sometimes when I go to speak to some young guys, I tell them social media is now a tool to model yourself privately. You can sit in the comfort of your room and read up things, watch positive things. So it helps also when you can now pick somebody to be your role model. You don't need to travel to Ibadan to see the person. You read about the person on social media. So social media has helped a lot of people to grow. And then that growing is equally being played out. So when people read, like for instance, you see some people typing on Facebook, for instance, they type, over time you find them growing. It's not what they used to do when they came up newly. Probably they weren't writing very well. They start learning from people who write well, copying and pasting, emulating them. Before you know what, it becomes encultured in you. You understand? So that's how we've come to grow. People doing it well, influencing those who weren't doing it well, and then talking, the conferences, the seminars being organized. Then we have forums for social media. They have OCA, whatever social media forum, Onitsha social media forum. So people not only practice on the net, they equally go to socialize, and then let the positive ones influence those who have little negative deposit in them. So it's washing out. We have cleansing. The cleansing is taking place.
With time,
we're getting there.
But even in that positivity, several things trended. Let me give you an example. Someone came during that Koza issue and said that Timi Dakolo wedded in Pastor Koza's church and was given 5 million naira settlement and all those things. Yes. He later came out to deny it. Within that, even making that change, we still saw propaganda being sandwiched with the truth. How do we balance when we're going to make change with the truth? Or will change happen even despite lies?
Propaganda is part of the process.
Okay.
You will not take it away from it. Like politics, even in America, many years after independence, propaganda is still essential, because that is where you touch the people's emotions. If I use that word. So they beat the people. Somebody can come out and claim something. It's not about social media. This is a and it was equally social media that aided the other countering of that initial information. So somebody came up on social media also and said that wasn't the true situation. The man himself said he never went. If I released a video on social media, which everybody watched, and that one buried it. I never wedded in Koza, and then I never even met. He was never a choir master there, and then music director rather, and then he was not given any money or any car. So those things, you see, social media is helping. Even the negative ones will come up, but the positive one will equally bury them. The truth will always prevail.
Do you agree with him?
All right. I might agree with him. I might disagree with him.
Where do you agree?
I'd like to hear both. Your opinion.
Yeah. All right. In 2011, when social media emerges, there were a lot of fallacy. It was majorly on the eye side of the politicians. Politicians will just get ahead, give him an Android phone, he goes online and say everything. Today, it's becoming another ball game. Now, you see, offline and online is becoming pari passu. Whatever you say online, guys go down offline to verify it.
Yeah.
Are you seeing it being checkmated? Now, for guys to maintain their neutrality or being neutral, they always want to be.
Always prevail.
I'm making a point here.
Okay.
I'm making a point. I don't know if you understand my point. Now, in 2015, when the Chibok girls was abducted,
yes, kidnapped. Chibok girls.
Professor Obie Kwesili came up with hashtag Bring Back Our Girls. And within 24 to 48 or 78 hours, it went viral. What happened? The government were put to a standpoint that they will start looking for these things.
Okay. We'll continue with the discussion. We'll go on a short break now. We'll come back. We'll begin to balance the issue of propaganda, finding the truth on social media, and causing change. Will be our focus when we come back from this break. Stay with us. Yes, it is still the weekend show, and we're rolling here looking at very important issue that happened in the last week, and we want to begin to harmonize these things. How would social media bring change in Nigeria? Several people have complained that what we want as Nigerians, what we demand from government, are not usually what we receive. And we want to see how people can galvanize support, galvanize accountability, and also not just for governments, for people also who are holding other different positions at local levels, at community levels, in schools, in various administrative positions. And we have with us this morning Mr. Charles Ifanyobi and also Engineer Kenechukwu Onwuzo join us to look at these issues.
And yes, before we went on that break, we were talking about propaganda and social media. And Mr. Kenechukwu, you said something about initially social media was for politicians solely.
Yeah.
And then this week we saw social media with religious leaders. And a lot of people came out screaming that don't go against the church, don't go against the church. So I want to ask Mr. Charles, do you think that from the Kosa story, because a lot of people are looking at it from the angle of people using social media to fight the church, is there a way whereby we can actually differentiate between social media and our spirituality? Because what I see Bisola fighting, maybe that's my view as a person, what I see Bisola fighting is actually an individual war. She's fighting the individual in question, not the church. But then people are seeing Bisola as fighting the body of Christ. How do you think these two views, because people feel that, a lot of people kept bringing out the view that social media is satanic. I read it a lot. That social media is satanic, that the devil is using it as a tool to fight the body of God, that's the church. How can we differentiate between this positive change that social media is bringing, even in the church, and our spirituality? Because Africans, we can be very religious.
If someone said social media is satanic,
yeah, I heard
then I should, on the other hand, say social media is angelic. Why? Because social media has not just been used to right some wrong, okay? Social media has equally been used to propagate the gospel. I have a lot of, missionary pages I follow. There are a lot of, in fact, they even have radio on social media that you can listen to get some, word of God. Okay, and then you see a lot of things happening in the Vatican. Recently, I just watched Putin visiting the Pope in Rome. Okay, so I was following it. I enjoyed it. So you see a lot of moral stuff coming up. From you can be here and watch things happening in Japan, China, religious wise. So Bisola coming out to use the social media, to employ the social media to correct what she felt was meted wrongly against her, should be applauded. It's a plus for social media. Now, it doesn't count whether it was used against, not the church.
Okay.
The war wasn't against the church. It was against an individual.
Yeah.
They singled out Pastor Abiodun. Okay. Now, the members of the church, those who condemned it, said that was wrong. Him particularly, not the church. They are still there in the church. People are still worshiping. Tomorrow again, you see them go to church, and nobody will go there to protest because he has stepped down. Anybody going there to protest against the church is now looking for trouble because Pastor Abiodun is no longer presiding. Now he has to go to the court. He says he's going to court to seek legal redress. So he said
He was sued yesterday. She officially sued him yesterday.
Yeah, so he has to go to the court to clean himself up. Though the result of the court really does not really wouldn't determine not about the truth whether it happened or
It's
it didn't
about the
happen.
logic.
It's not about the logic because it has been proven that there are no evidences.
Okay,
There are no evidences. I'm not a lawyer, but I want to go into this a little.
You're a lawyer.
So I'm not giving it to Bisola yet.
Okay.
Because she doesn't have proof that she was raped, and then Pastor, on the other hand, does not have anything to prove also that he didn't do it. So they will go to the court and lock it out there. Whatever happens, then it now depends on that. But that doesn't say this is the true fact.
Actually, what I wanted to say is, in as much as Bisola did not have proof or do not still have proof, the fact that Bisola stepped out, now more women are stepping out with the same accusation, and some of them now have proof.
Fine, if they have proof, let them bring it on. They are going to come as witnesses in the court.
You know, because about the proof or the evidence against
This is still on the social media. We're talking about social media now. What it has led us into, what the social media trends has led us into. Social media trending. Social media trending.
It seems Kenneth wants to.
Can I help you out?
Is it help out or
Yes, let me help him out.
Okay.
I wouldn't disagree with my good friend. He's my very good friend. I was talking about social media. So if I disagree with him, I think I'm trying to make myself superior. So let me help him out here. Now, in this part of the war, let me use Anambra, Nigeria, quote unquote. Sentiment is becoming the order of the day.
Okay.
Sentiment. Now, for example, a priest, I am an Anglican, and I will be making references to what happens. Because I would love a situation whereby we're talking about social media. And social media, we should make use of example that is happening within our doorsteps.
Okay.
Am I making a point? Now,
You mean we shouldn't leave what is in our homes and start pursuing other ones?
exactly. In the Anglican Communion in 17, something happened in the Agota Diocese.
Let's not be specific now because I just want us to.
I will not call names.
Okay.
I will not call names. I just want to give you an hint. What I did as a social media influencer. Now, they were accused of so thing, and the body of Christ discharged these people. And the number were not much as the first information came, the second information came, the third information came. I did my findings on the first, second, and I got the real figure. I posted it as it happened. Now, you know, our people are becoming sentiment that once it concerns the church, they say, don't go there. You are fighting Christ. You are fighting the body of Christ. No.
So you mean social change, whether when we want to influence change, it should not be despite any group of people.
At all.
As far as this is the right thing to do, we should go for it.
Stand your ground.
Okay. Let's now take your final words because we're already over.
You should not institutionalize it.
Huh?
I made this clear. Don't institutionalize the fight, the war, especially where it does not happen within the purview. Like, for instance, someone, even if he's the Pope, commits an offense, you single out the Pope. Don't say the Catholic Church is evil.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay? Now you
agree
single
with
out
you
the
on that.
individual, just like the pastor building. Now we have another. We didn't talk about the senator's scenario recently in a sex toys shop where he was slapping. So a woman alleged to be pregnant, and that's the Senator Abo from Adamawa North. I think we need to talk about that too, because that's part of what trended recently,
wanted to talk
and
about
it has equally brought in kudos to those practicing on the social media. You know, I think in fact they said that social media is the latest cuts,
Yes.
the masses cuts now, because there you do it and you see the results. It doesn't have to depend on somebody's a church to rule, and then maybe whatever happens.
Okay,
This one, what you give in is what you see. People sample. And then recently, Senator Victor, I heard him say something. He said, when you want to do something, he's not talking about the government, addressing the government. When you want to do something and you find resistance, massive resistance from the people, drop it. That is what equally happened to Ruga recently. Nigerians use the social media to oppose the government vehemently. The social media, people even went to some of these settlements and took photographs, took video records. They said this is happening in our land. A lot of people in abroad everywhere came up and talked on social media. People were airing their view. Before you know what, the federal government was touched. The president had to resent.
Okay, so you know what will happen? Let's take just a short break. Congratulations, we never see this again.
Thank you, brother. Nice, huh? Okay. Anthony, so about we're going back to Brazil.
The video we showed you just now is the video of the Madonna 7 that were finally released yesterday. It was also part of the calls that were made on social media demanding for their release. Although we don't have the details of that yet, whether it's a cancellation or a bail, that will be determined as time goes on. But the truth is that their time bail and everything was also actualized through the power of social media.
And then the Senator Abu's case, before we conclude, I want to ask, is the power of social media being abused, considering the fact that this man came out, apologized, gave us the whole theory presentation, and yet some people are still saying that's not enough. I think he has to fit the rot of the law.
See, with his apology,
Okay.
I was touched.
Okay.
Now, see, we give it again to social media. Okay? If not that CCTV camera
Caught
that
him.
recorded that, and social media threw it up, he wouldn't have been able to apologize. He wouldn't have apologized.
Because
We
initially
would have
he didn't.
heard it. It has the moral impact is so deepening. It's so, like it made me emotional. So we give it up to social media. We give kudos to those who brought up that to the social media, and then to everybody, each and every one of us that shared it. That's how to go. But I want to talk about also, we know we've been praising social media, giving kudos and all that. I think we should equally look at something. Why we should also be careful. Because sometimes what we do live with us. 20 years after, social media unburies this thing and shows it to us, bears it to us. See, something happened recently, even in Anambra, when they were carrying, placards, and then somebody went and unburied stuff that happened many years ago. So, it served me that, and I had to equally reply with a kind of a little defense. And the person said, "Why are you coming now?" But that thing existed. The person had to bring it up because it was posted on social media. And when I saw it, I was like, "Oh no, hell no!" Now, when you carry the wrong placard and pose like a dummy, for instance, someone picks up that picture and saves in his or her archive. 10 years after.
Okay, you know that.
Or you dance naked in the street and someone picks it. It serve you some other time.
That is made that whatever comes online stays online. Whether you like. Okay, let's take that as the last word. As we go, what will be your advice, especially in the use of social media, to bring change? How we're going to be careful in the negatives, and how we're going to push positivity on social media.
All right, before I say that, I think I'll make a point there. If actually I, Kenneth Chukwuonzo, slapped, assaulted a daughter of a senator, and I come online and apologize, will my apology be accepted?
Oh my God.
That's a simple question.
Then, social media have come to stay. Then I'll ask every social media influencer, know who you are. When you know who you are, believe on your decision. just like me, I believe that I am an advocate of good governance. I don't want to know what you are saying. If ABS is not doing well, I will come out and say ABS is not doing well. And every blessed day, I want to be good. Why? Because propaganda is good, constructive propaganda is good, and destructive is also good.
Okay, I think that will be your last one. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much for coming on Weekend Show.
Thank
Really
you very
appreciate
much.
it. Okay, so my last word there. Social media I never forget. So just remember that whatever you drop on social media will definitely find you someday.
And what comes online stays online, whether you want it or not. I am David Obowasebe.
And I'm Oluchika. Weekend Show returns with the breakfast news. Don't go anywhere.